Hello once again, welcome to our channel. Sa sulok man ng mundo kayo ngayon, mabuhay. Hangad ko po na nasa maayos kayong kalagayan at ligtas sa anumang uri ng kapahamakan at malayo sa lahat ng mabibigat na karamdaman. Mga kapatid, ano ang katotohanan sa likod ng kaguluhan sa bansang Israel? Alam mo na ba? Tinuklas mo na ba? Ang bidyong ito ay patunay na ang katotohanan ay nagliwanag na at ang kasinungalingan ay wala nang magagawa upang patuloy na linlangin ang mga tao at itago ang totoo. Maraming nasasakripisyong buhay dahil sa kasakiman ng mga politiko na ang usaping ito ay hindi lamang sa Israel kundi sa buong mundo. Kahanga-hanga na may mga sundalo ng liwanag na binaba sa lupa upang magtanggol sa sangkatauhan at magbigay ng proteksyon at karapatan upang mabuhay ng payapa. Makikita sa mga taong ito ang tapang na ihayag ang katotohanan kahit pa ang banta at panganib sa kanilang buhay ay laging nariyan. Pero dahil nasa panig nila ang liwanag at katotohanan, ay may kakaiba silang karanasan na siya nagbibigay sa kanila ng tapang. Halika kayo at ating panoorin at pakinggan ang video. Para sa description ay makikita lang po ito sa inyong Facebook account search tab na may pamagat na Son of Hamas Leaders Speak Up. Let's watch it.
Our next guest grew up on the West Bank where his father was a founding member of Hamas. He was groomed to take a senior role before he turned on the terrorist group in prison. Spying for Israel now, converting to Christianity, and ultimately seeking asylum in the U.S. Musab Hassan returns to us now as he came a few years ago, and now we got more than ever. Musab, it's great to see you. We'd love to know the insight of this group and how they were able to pull off what they did October 7th. First, can you tell the audience your background, people that didn't read your book?
I was born at the heart of Hamas leadership, and I know them very well. They don't care for the Palestinian people. They don't regard the human life. And I saw their brutality firsthand back in 1996 when I spent about a year and a half in Megiddo prison. They killed so many Palestinian people at that time. And this is when I decided that I cannot be together with this movement. In fact, I asked myself a question: what if they become a ruling party at some point? What will they do? If they succeed in destroying Israel and building their state, what will they do? They will kill our people. And this was the first question, that actually I had to be honest with myself. Even though Hamas gave me advantages, I was like a prince in that world, but I did not like them. And I turned against even my own blood, because this is how much I did not like Hamas. And today, 25 years later, they are the rulers of Gaza, and we see what they are capable of doing.
We saw what happened October 7th. We saw them do what they did to Holocaust victims. They have now over 200 hostages, murdered babies in their cribs, and we see the horror of what they're capable of. Now they've retreated back to Gaza, and a ground incursion is about to happen. Would you recommend Israel do this? And what will they find when they go in?
Okay, first of all, we need to evacuate civilians as much as we can. This is an ugly war, and Israel did not start it. Hamas did. First of all, we need to encourage civilians to go into Egypt, possibly women and children, maybe men over 50 years old. These need to get out of the picture. Then the strip need to be cut two pieces, north and south, two parts. The northern part, this is where most of the tunnels are. We need to have a solid siege, for long enough to deplete the enemy and to starve them. After that, we may need to explore using gas. This is sounds horrible, but I don't see any other option. The tunnels are interconnected, and gas could be one of the solutions, but this has to be in the right time. We cannot just rush into Gaza. There is no modern army that is prepared for this type of war. And most importantly, we need to get the civilians out of the picture. As long as there are civilians there,
right,
then the operation might be incomplete.
But Musab, you also say it's almost impossible for us to give aid to the Gaza Strip. $100 million we're about to give them and keep it away from Hamas. Don't you agree that that can't work?
Look, after we destroy the tunnels, we need to finish Hamas rule in Gaza Strip. This is priority number one. Then we need to replace the regime. Could be the Palestinian Authority, could be the Egyptian government, could be Arab League force. We need to replace their rule in Gaza. After that, we can talk about aid. But as of now, sending any aid is a mistake.
So you also believe that this isn't about the Palestinians fighting for their rights and their sovereignty. What is the real mission of Hamas, and what do they really think of the Palestinian people?
You know, Hamas is not a national movement. Hamas is a religious movement with a goal to establish an Islamic state. They don't care for nationalism. Actually, they are against nationalism. With that said, my understanding that they are using the Palestinian cause only to achieve their goals, so the long-term goal, you know, transforming the Middle East and the world into an Islamic state. This is Hamas agendas, and they are not hidden, by the way. So Hamas is serving foreign agendas. We're talking about Iran, and we're talking about Russia lately. Hamas serve those parties, and Iran pays them close to $1 billion annually. Iran is the real master in this picture. Hamas does not serve the Palestinian people. Hamas serve Iran. Those are the masters of Hamas. So their lie about nationalism, that they are a national movement and they care for the Palestinian people, look at them. They are using Palestinian people as a human shield. We need to free Gaza from Hamas. This is what Israel is doing. It's doing the Palestinian people the greatest favor by bringing Hamas down. Then the Palestinian people, they just want to live a normal life. They don't want missiles in the most populated area on earth to be launched from under hospitals, from crowded areas, and going suicidal and endangering the life of the entire population of Gaza. Who does that? You've got to be insane to do such an operation.
Right.
And
you're talking about your family that your family used to believe that, and you used to believe that that was okay, but you don't. Musab, now, exit question. Around the globe, and even in our capital, people are protesting for Hamas. They're saying for the Israel to back off and stop with the airstrikes. Well, what do you say to those protesters? What is it about their mindset?
Okay, listen, I cannot convince the entire world of truth. Right now, people are emotional. They hate to see children dying. Even though, you know, Hamas is killing the people at the hospital, and we have evidence of that, but they still blame Israel. People can blame whoever they want, you know, but now we have to concentrate. We have to focus. Public opinion is very important, but unfortunately, it's not the time to win the public opinion. It's the time to win the war against the most brutal terrorist organization living today, you know. And later on, when people look back at the situation, they will understand what we were doing. We should not be afraid of the public opinion. We have to explain as much as we can.
And you're doing that.
But now we have to concentrate on our goals.
And Musab, that's why your perspective is so vital and you're unique. You grew up in the Hamas family, you broke from it, and now you're speaking to stop it. Musab Hassan Youssef, thanks so much for what you're doing. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. Have a nice day.
You too.
And probably have read his book, Son of Hamas, and if you didn't, it's still on the shops, and more than 500,000 copies were already sold only in this country. Mossa was born in Ramallah, the eldest son of Sheikh Hassan Youssef, founder of Hamas in the West Bank. From the time Youssef was young, it was expected that he would one day become a Hamas leader. He already began rising through the ranks as a teenager and was arrested by Israel in 1996. While in prison, he decided to accept a Shin Bet offer to become an informant. Beginning with his release from prison in 1997, Youssef was considered by Shin Bet to be the most reliable Hamas source, nicknamed the Green Prince. His intelligence information exposed Hamas cells and prevented dozens of suicide bombings in Israel and saved dozens and hundreds of lives. Yusuf moved to the United States in 2007, and after 3 years was finally granted political asylum in 2010. Mossad, the floor is yours for opening remarks.
Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity. As some of you know already, that I am not politically correct. And I don't believe that the politician can provide the solution, especially when the politician does not have a moral ground that they stand on. I came up with the allegory of the sheep. Maybe some of you heard me saying it somewhere else. The sheep thinks that the shepherd, their best friend. The shepherd provides water, food, and creates the illusion for the sheep that it's protector. Sometimes wearing a mask, a political mask, in the West Bank or Tunisia or other locations, sometimes wearing an ideological and religious mask in Gaza or maybe other capitals of the Arab world. They have their own way to deceive the sheep and make the sheep dependent on them. But unfortunately, by the time the sheep realized that the shepherd was not their best friend or the protector of their interest, they're already in the slaughterhouse. This is the reality of what's happening in the Middle East. Leaderships of the Palestinian people, my people by the way, and I have the authority to say this. If they disown me, if they label me as a traitor, they can say whatever they want to say. I sacrificed a lot for the sake of Palestine, of Islam, even of Hamas. I spent 27 months in Israeli prisons. I grew up witnessing the first Palestinian Intifada, and I had no idea what was going on. As a child, I was fed with hatred that Israel was our enemy, and Israel was the source of our suffering. While the Palestinian leaderships, from Yasser Arafat to Mahmoud Abbas to Abu Jihad, all of them were sitting in Tunisia, spending billions of dollars. In the meantime, they were sending children to die, throwing stones, facing Israeli soldiers. I was one of them. They used us. They sent us to the slaughterhouse. They wanted us to die. The shepherd thought, how many sheep I'm going to sacrifice today to get the attention of the world, so maybe we get some more funds. So they decided to slaughter 100 sheep, 200 sheep. Then Hamas came later on, 20 years later, and they did the same thing, using children and women as a human shield in Gaza Strip. Then we have now a new mask for the shepherd, and written on it BDS, to manipulate the international community, create chaos. They're very good at doing that. Whether you call it intifada, you create chaos. In a state of chaos, you distract everybody, and the thief knows how to find a way. Same thing now, on a global scale. They are manipulating the friends of Israel, the only democracy in the Middle East, the only true democracy. While the shepherd, by the way, is not legitimate anyway. You know, somebody, they sit here in this house of shame. I agree with you, Mr. Daniel. I agree. They don't represent the Palestinian people anyway. Who are you representing? The Palestinians in the West Bank or the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip? You are representing greed. Wearing the mask with what so-called Palestinian cause. You're a liar. You're a Lucifer. And at some point, you will be unmasked. If they were sincere and truthful in their approach towards peace, they would go and educate the Palestinian people, first of all, of the actual history, not their history. To compare Israel to apartheid of the South Africa, this is no comparison. The state of Israel, I know terrorists when I spent time in prison who had blood on their hands of Jewish people, and they had the right to go to schools and study and achieve higher degrees from Israeli schools. In Jerusalem, the Israeli government gave the Muslims the right to worship on Temple Mount, and in the meantime does not give the right to the Jewish people to practice their religious freedom on Temple Mount. Israel, before BDS, which is, BDS is only a continuation to what has been happening for many years since its establishment. I ask myself, a country like Indonesia or other countries thousands of miles away, Muslim countries, why are they boycotting Israel? What Israel has to do with them? That they have been unifying to delegitimize the state of Israel, not since the beginning or the establishment of BDS. BDS is just a new face. It's the new mask. I say those people need to be exposed to public. They are creating, as they created the chaos and the division within the Palestinian society, and they blamed Israel, now they are doing it on a global scale to make everybody hate Israel and to turn Israel's friends against it, to turn other democracies against Israel. It's their game. They're very good at it. One of the most powerful tools to stop them, I say, stop giving them money. Instead, I'm about to conclude. Instead of empowering them against the Palestinian people, empower the Palestinian people, empower the individual against them. Create jobs, create opportunities. This is what we need. I'm actually very pleased to know and about this example. Those settlements that they say settlements, those are great communities and great opportunities to create and establish more industrial zones, to create job opportunities for the Palestinian people. This is what they need. They need education, they need economy, they need prosperity, they need to feel safe. This is more important than all the political and religious agendas that their leaderships wear to deceive them and deceive the rest of the world. This is from my own experience. I know that this is harsh, but in times like this, when I see the separation, when I see the division, somebody has to say something. They are not trustworthy. They are the enemies of the Palestinian people. And I'm not talking only about the Hamas extremists. Also, I'm talking about the what's so-called moderate hypocrites. There are two types of Palestinian leaderships. One is terrorist, and the second is hypocrite. And the hypocrite leadership, by the way, is more dangerous, in my opinion, than the terrorist. Because the terrorists, you know how to deal with them. But the hypocrite leadership, you don't know their true color, you don't know how to respond to them. I think this is enough for now.
Okay, hayan mga kapatid, ang Hamas ay teroristang grupo na ayon sa video ay may goal na magtayo ng Islamic State at hindi upang proteksyonan ng Palestinian. Ginagawa lang nilang human shield ang Palestinian at wala silang pakialam sa nationalism. Kumbaga ay pinag-aaway nila ang Muslim sa kapwa Muslim. Okay? I hope na nakapaghatid muli ako sa inyo ng isa pang makabuluhang impormasyon. Muli, maraming salamat at mabuhay!